All right, welcome back. In this video, we're going to continue on. This is video 3, I think, of the customer program. So we've already, we can print a customer. We've put 5 customers in our list, and we can print the entire list. So our next step is to add a customer and then select and return the index. So let's add a customer to the list. So the option to add a customer to the list is N. So if the user selects N, that's when you're going to add a customer to the list. But before we do that, we need to, of course, implement the function. So this function is going to take in the customer list and the count of the customer. So if we have 5 customers, it's going to take in, you need to know that because that's the location of the next empty customer. So you just need to one by one prompt for the information and then fill in at each field. So for example, you say printf, enter first name, and then you will scanf. First name is a character array, so we use %s. You can put a space here so you don't have to worry about the empty space. And then we're going to scan into our list at location customer count. Remember, because if you're at location customer count, if you have 5 customers, they're at indexes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the count is the 5. So that's the first empty one. And then you just use the dot operator, and we're going to get in the first name. If you want to enter something that's not a character array, of course, you're going to have to use the ampersand. So I'm going to go ahead and put my code here so I don't have to type it all in. Actually, we'll put the ID here. So we have here, just to go over it, enter the ID. So we're going to use an ampersand into list at customer count.id, the last name, the first name, and then the other field is the account balance. And then, of course, you want to set the order total and the previous order total to 0 because it's a new customer, so you haven't calculated any orders yet. And then you're going to return customer +1 because there's a lot of ways to do this, but this is just to reiterate the fact that if we came in with 5 customers, we go back with 6 customers, right? So if we came in with 5, then 5 is the first empty location. You need to update this value in case you want to enter another new customer. So now this is the function, and now we just need to call this function. So what we do here is if the user selects N, we will just add a new customer like this. And we're going to pass it the list. We're going to pass it the count, which I think is customer count. Hopefully that's how it's spelled. And then it's going to return the new customer count. So we've made some changes, and now we're going to test it and see if we're able to add a customer. So just to remind you, if I select P, it'll print my list. If I select N to add a new customer, then it's going to ask for the ID. It's going to ask for the last name, the first name, and the account balance. I'm very poor. I have only $2. And now if I hit P, it should now print all 6 of my customers. I used to have 5, now I have 6. Now keep in mind that we are not going to be using any file to save this. So once I close out of here and I make changes and I recompile that new customer that I just added is obviously not going to be there anymore. All right, so we're just getting our features done. Now our next thing, if we run it again. Now what if I want to add? So if I want to add, if I select what customer am I adding to, right? So here, I don't even know what's going to happen. So if I want to add, I select this, I select this, and Now I have my item total, my order total, but these are not connected to any customer because I've not selected which customer I want to add to. So if I check out, it's just completely not, it's just starting with a $20 balance for a customer that doesn't exist. So let's go back and take a look and why that is. So here we have this balance, which we're not going to be used anymore because the balance is part of our customer list. So we're not going to be using a balance anymore. We still need to use the item total and we may still need to use the order total. So let's leave them right now. So we're going to get rid of this balance because each person in our list has their own balance. So in order to select which customer we're going to be working with, we're going to get rid of this because this now we are not working with any customer. And for the checkout, we also are going to have to change how we're going to check out. So we're going to comment all that. We can leave checkout here and we can put printf add an item to the order. But what we really want to do here is we want to check to see if we've selected anyone. So how do we know if we have selected anyone? Well, in order to select someone, you're going to have to set the customer, and that's going to set the index. So we're going to have a variable up here called index. Now this index right here is an index for printing one customer. So if you don't know what that is, go back. That's the index we're choosing to print one customer on the screen. We're going to use a different index for an order. So we can call this index order. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to, when you start to compile, we're going to set our index order to something that could not possibly be. So like you can't have a -1 in an array, right? So if we initialize our index order to, let me see what I initialized it to in my code here. Yeah, so I initialized it to -1. So if we initialize our index order to a -1, there is no such thing as a -1 index. I'm going to pause for a second. All right, so there's no such thing as a -1 index. So if we initialize this, then we can go down here, and if you try to add, you would just check and say if the index 1 or the index order equals -1, then you're going to print a message that says printf select S to choose the customer, however you want to say that. I didn't want to say select again, so. All right, so that's just saying, all right, we have not selected a customer yet, so we need to select S to choose a customer. Also, if you're going to check out, it's the same idea. You need to select S to choose a customer. So let's just first make sure that that works. All right, so let's see what I have an error here. Oh, we're not saving that. Try again. All right. So now if I select A, it says select S to choose a customer. If I select C, it says select S to choose the customer. All right, so now we need to choose the customer. So how do we choose the customer? Well, we just go here to the function, select and return index, and we need to implement that function. All right, so this is going to take the customer list and the count, and it's going to go through. My choice is to print the customers onto the screen since I already have that function. So I could call my print customer list function. which is going to take my list and another copy of the count. So it's going to print that onto the screen, and then it's going to say printf, enter the index. And then we're going to have to, of course, use a variable for the index, int index. And scanf %d into the index. And then we will return the index. So this function is just going to print the list onto the screen. You could customize the list and only print like the last name and the index, but I'm just going to make it easier and print the whole list onto the screen, ask for the index, scan the index, and return the index. So now I need to call this function and make sure that it works. So on S, what's going to happen here? If the user selects S, you're going to this variable index order here equals, and we're going to select and return the index. We're going to pass the list, and we're going to pass the count. All right, so the only other thing I want to change here is that I want to put an else here that says if it's not a -1, then we can check out, right? But that's not really true, because if it's not a -1, you need to have added something to the order in order to check out, right? But I don't think, I'm not sure. Let me see if I address that. That's just adds a whole nother feature, but yeah, we don't really have to worry about that. Okay, so if it's -1, you can't check out because you haven't selected a customer. If it is not -1, that means a customer has been selected, so you can check out. We could also print here, printf, the index is %d. I like to always put printfs whenever possible to give myself some feedback. So I'm going to do the same thing up here with adding. So if it's -1, you're going to tell them to select S. And if not, you're going to add an item to the order, which we haven't implemented yet. That's going to be in the next video. All right, so let's build this and see what happens. All right, so now we select A, select S, we select C, select S, select S. So it prints it out there. It gives me all of the indexes that I have here. So I pick an index, I pick 6. This is out of the range. If I select A, it's just going to say I picked 6, but it's out of the range. If I select C, I'm still on the same index. If I select S, I can pick a different index. A, okay, so I'm able to select the index. The only thing is that I don't want to select an index that's out of range. So my recommendation is to use this same kind of loop right here, this do while. And you can do that. You can put that right here in your function. All right, so right here. Actually, we could print the whole, that's right. You print the list and then you ask them to enter the index. The only difference is that the name of the index is not index 1, it's index. So here. So let's review this. You print out the list, you ask them to enter the index, they enter the index. If they enter a negative index, it's not going to take it. If they enter an index out of the range, it's not going to take it. So this do while loop is going to continue and continue and continue until you get an index in range. And this is a very good thing to do because that way you will not end up with any issues trying to add to an order for an index that does not exist. So let's test it again. Do you notice how I make a little change and then I test it? S. Okay, enter an index, 8. Enter an index, 5. Enter an index, 2. So now I can enter, I could add for index 2. I can check out for index 2. If I want to do a different index, I cannot pick one that's out of range. And now I can add for index 1. I can check out for index 1. All right, so the next video, we're going to put it all together and we're going to actually use all of our code that we have from before to actually do a checkout and order for a customer.